I had the idea of just whipping out some of my paint supplies today to do some painting. I haven't touched this paint set, any of these paint supplies, in about a few years now. And I just had the urge today, so why not? I think this is a great opportunity for me to speak on my journey with acknowledging the fear of being seen and heard, and also working to letting go of that fear and feeling the fear and just doing things that scare me. So we're going to begin now. Acting like it's a whole thing. I'm using this composition book because I don't even know where my paint plate is, with the little holes, in the sense of the fear of being seen. That's what we're going to get into today. I have these random paintbrushes that I've been collecting over the years. It's this brush set, so I'm guessing that you can use basically any type of paint. But I also just like to paint little like geometric shapes and whatever just comes out, and just kind of just make little patterns. Back in high school, I was really into like representational type of art, especially portraits and like landscape. But now I just don't want to put so much pressure, because back then, like in school, like my electives were mostly made up of art classes. But now, like, I also, like, maybe like a year ago, I did try to get back into drawing, and drawing like actual things like still lives, portraits, and it's fun. But I realize like it puts a lot of pressure for me. It's like I can feel the pressure to like the perfectionist come through. So this just allows me to just let my mind flow and not be so hung up on the details. Maybe one day I'll get back into more representational type of art. But for today, it's just not the vibe. I don't really know how paint works, but it's just how I think it works. Okay, let's see what colors are calling my name today. I hope this mic is giving, because if it doesn't, I don't know. This pink looks nice. I also have another box. Paint. So let's see. Purple is giving a little. Maybe not this one. I don't know. I feel like last time I tried these, they weren't. I don't know. One of them wasn't like coming out. It was like very, very watery, and you could barely see like the pigment on the canvas. Maybe a little blue vibes. Orange. Let's see. This one's nice. I can do this one, but I feel like, oh, this one's nice too. And now I kind of want like a nice warm color. Let's see. Maybe orange. Something about this is kind of like, I don't know. Let's just try it out. Maybe green. I kind of like that. So let's do that. All right, let's start with this one. All right, let's see. All right, so let's start. Also, by the way, I'm definitely not like an expert artist. So if you're an artist out there, like a professional one, close your eyes, close your ears, maybe leave. Just kidding. I don't know. I don't know anything about technique. I just know putting some paint and paper, canvas, whatever. So to discuss the fear of being seen and my experience with it, I would say fear of being seen and heard. I would say it goes back to maybe like the beginning of like my middle school age. At the beginning of middle school, you start becoming more aware of like your own identity and what makes you you. Like I would say like that's the beginning part of it, because I believe like you become aware, self-aware, because people start pointing out things. Um, and more often than not, people start pointing out things about you that seem wrong, that seem seen as something that needs to be disapproved of. And I don't know, for me in particular, I would say the main thing that, I wouldn't say I always struggled, because at one point I didn't struggle because I really didn't care, because like I just was I was being, I allowed myself to be. However, it felt natural to me. And it wasn't until people started pointing out aspects of my personality, how I talked, how I danced, how, like the music I sang, the things that I seemed to be excited about. And also, on top of that, people start pointing out like more physical features of yourself in the sense of like making comments on your weight and saying, "Ooh, boy, every time I see you, things are getting bigger." And they weren't wrong, to be honest. But also, I just feel like, people's physical appearance and people's bodies should never be something to comment on, because like sometimes people can't control how they look or their body, And I would say like once I started experiencing these types of comments and hearing people say things about, you know, say things to my face, you see the face of disapproval and saying like, don't do this, don't do that, this, that. I'm like, okay, I feel like at the end of the day, all of us want to feel accepted. All of us want to feel welcomed, especially when you're at that age, I don't know, 12, 13, 14. You want to feel included and welcomed and accepted. So you do anything. What would prevent me from feeling that rejection from other people? And I think that's like the beginning of it, because when you are told, and when things are implied that the way you are is wrong and that you need to be a different way in order to be accepted, it's kind of tough, because like kids want to be accepted, kids want to be heard, kids want to be seen in a positive light. When you are not like the standard, in my situation, like I'm not like the poster image of what a masculine boy was, and you start kind of like inhibiting yourself, you're inhibiting your personality, because you have this underlying and self-strengthening fear of being rejected, and being othered. I think I carried that for a long time, throw into the mix. High school was kind of like the time where I really started to kind of acknowledge and accept that I was not, but I was more like anything but straight. And that was also a different, like a difficult journey in itself, because the stigma, and already kind of like growing up with like those judgments, you like this other thing, like this other very real thing is something you learn to fear, like really my fear of being seen is stemming from that feeling like my natural way of being was never really seen as good enough, especially from the people around me, like my family members. I love my family. I'm really grateful for them. There's amazing people in my family who now have accepted me and made me feel loved and welcome. But in the past, of course, there is moments where you wish certain people didn't say things, or they didn't point it out in a certain way. So it wasn't, you know, I was like deep into the closet until like my freshman year of college, where I just, I was away from my hometown, away from my family, away from everything that I knew. And that was an opportunity for me to like accept and kind of explore that part of me that I kind of repressed for like the majority of like my life before 18. I'm grateful because like I was able to meet amazing people who make me feel welcome, make me feel accepted, and I owe that experience a lot to my journey and accepting myself for who I am and allowing myself to be seen as who I am. I have never really acknowledged that fear of being seen directly until maybe like 2 years ago. Now that I've become more comfortable with who I am and like, learning to accept my personality, embrace my uniqueness, it still kind of like impacts other areas of your life, whether that be in the relationships you have with your loved ones, in the workplace, and even your ability to express yourself creatively. There's like this blockage that forces you to continue to inhibit yourself, inhibit who you are. I would say like acknowledging this has really played a big part in turning inward and working on exploring the shadows within myself, through actual like introspection, reflection, and shadow work. And it's like it's a journey in itself to let yourself be seen, because it's when you've been doing everything to avoid being seen as you are, as your most authentic self, it's difficult to just like peel the band-aid, because it's like it's still there, unless you work to like really acknowledge it, accept it, process it, and integrate it, and right now this is like a way that I'm working to allow myself to be seen and to be heard as I am. If I could go back and tell my younger teen self, there will be people that do not accept you. There will be people that do not approve of how you are, how you act, how you speak, how you think, how you move, your interests and your hobbies. But if I could go back and tell him, I would say that have the courage to be disliked. Have the courage to not be the perfect standard to what you're expected to be. And it might be painful, but you are strong and you have a resilience in you. You will be able to overcome it and be in a place where you can actually start becoming more comfortable with yourself and acknowledge that before anything, before all the labels, whether you label yourself through your sexual orientation, your ethnicity, your education level, you're a human. You're a human that is unique and beautiful in their own way. That's what matters, And in accepting you, you accept your imperfections. Now, this is a challenge I've taken upon myself to be able to work through these blockages and these fears through feeling the fear and doing it anyway, If you're dealing with that, I would just say, just know you're good enough. You're good enough as you are. You've always been good enough. How other people perceive you, it's none of your business. Everybody's unique traits, quirks, imperfections, and strengths, weaknesses, they all make you you. Uniqueness adds to the beauty, the world's beautiful diversity, and we should all embrace that. It's like, I don't know, we should acknowledge that it's also difficult to like really feel that, depending on your circumstances, in a sense, I just, a lot of people that probably grew up with an environment that is very accepting, encouraging. But of course, there's people out there that did not grow up with that, did not grow up with that support. What I would say is you have to be able to hold space for the disapproval, for being disliked and rejected, just as much as you hold space for being loved, accepted, and welcome. I believe like that's where the strength lies. Like our own love for ourselves is so powerful and so grounding. It makes us invincible, and we have to find ways to get to that place. And I'm still learning that, I'm still learning how to. Shadow work is one of the tools that really has helped me, because it really allowed me to face myself and face the shadows of my being. And this is not to replace actual professional mental health advice, because I do believe in the value of that, because I also have been through my own periods of being in therapy, which has also helped me. All I could say is, if I can tell anybody experiencing rejection, if no one's being kind to you, have the courage to be kind to yourself, even in the midst of all that. Find something that you love about yourself. And even if it feels like very, very small, the power it holds in strengthening that powerful self love, small things help make the big picture. The people should probably look the best to be doing this, honestly. Okay, now I'm looking for a round brush, because I'm trying to make a circle. I don't know, this one is kind of giving, kind of roundy. It's not really round, but kind of has like an angle. I don't know what is going on here. Anywho, I'm gonna make little circles somewhere. This paint is kind of like dry already, but I don't want to be. Oh my gosh, not the paint. Now we're gonna do this. Boop, 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 boop. Since this paintbrush just wants to play games. Go like this. Now we're gonna go all over like that. Sometimes you're just gonna work with what you got, with what happens, you know? The journey inward and recognizing your shadows and feeling this yearning to finally experience what it feels to love yourself. You know, I think that's a unique journey in its own, and everybody kind of has to go through that on their own to understand how they could get there, you know? I believe self-love is an experience that comes with discomfort, that comes with acknowledging how much power you've given to other people and kind of rediscovering the true power that you have and learning to embrace all the aspects of yourself, both the beautiful parts, the imperfections, and also just like what makes you you and what comes naturally to you through your own being, through your own expression, whether that expression be through verbally, through written form, creatively, whatever way feels natural for you to express your most natural way of being. There is beauty having the courage to be disliked and having the courage and giving yourself the permission to not inhibit yourself so much, so much. I believe that comes with time, you know. I'm on that journey right now. Even if you're going through very dark times, I get it. Just look how far you've come. I know it's sometimes difficult to see the beauty in yourself, but I know, just know that you can get there, and know that you're worthy of loving yourself. You're worthy of feeling enough, and you're worthy of being you, just as you are. Allow yourself to be imperfect. Embrace your imperfection, and just allow yourself the freedom to explore, to do, and be what feels natural, you know? I would say perfectionism on its own as a concept in the process of letting go of is another journey in itself, and that can be for another day to discuss. But I believe that all is interconnected in some way, you know? Could need some like jagged edges somewhere. So let's do some orangey type of color, maybe like a red orange. Oh, that one gives these like maybe just like two. Something's like missing here. I don't know what though. Oh my god, I keep banging this like thing. Do I dare to put one here? It happened already, so let's go with it. It needs like a dot somewhere, so let's do a dot. Let's do a red dot. Alright. I fucks with it. Oh, maybe I'll put a red dot here. It kind of like brings it all together. Brings it together all. Brings it all together. Yeah. Me. And then over here. And that's it. No more red dots. Ooh. It's gonna be more like an oval, but all right. Enough is enough. All right. Here is the finished product. I don't know what to call her, but she's something. You can look at her this way, this way, this way, my baby girl. Just know she's a supermodel. But yeah, this is the type of paintings I like to do now. It's kind of like helps kind of mind, helps me observe my thoughts, kind of bring them to the forefront, and be able to help me just reflect on them, process them.